Hello and welcome back to my channel, Crafting Your Memories with Paula. Today we're going to play with a brand new fun tool called a pull tab tool, die cut within our new core catalogue. So this is using a really fun birthday die at the same time, birthday stampin' die, and some of our birthday paper range. So I'm pulling out a few old stamps to do a bit of decoration on the front cover before I get started. I'm actually going to be creating some invitations for a cocktail party. So I thought I would pull out that lovely border of fun cocktails to put on the front. Then I am putting together the little present that's going to become our little pull tab element. I'm doing some background stamping, and I'm also squeezing in a little title and giving the outline of the present in place. Now I'll set that aside to dry while I prepare a few other bits and pieces, and then I can colour it all in. So I'm going to go around this yellow paper. It's actually honey butter, a new colour. It does stand out better on this card if I do give it a little bit of a frame. So I'm using sapphire for that. And then I am actually placing this onto a piece of cardstock, just a hint of it showing, and it is glacier. That's so that when I use the pull tab element, it's not going to be on a sturdy surface. Now I'm not going to use the entire inside of that backing sheet, so I'm conserving my paper and cutting out that middle section. So now I'm going to start putting together the pieces we need to create the pull tab. So I've gone away and I'm just putting a little slit into the background piece. And in our pull tab thincut cards, you get 3 different sized slits so that you can, depending on what size the icon is that you're going to be pulling out. So now I'm just positioning my presents so that I know exactly where it's all going to fit. And then I decide I'm going to do my colouring first before I start to construct. So to do my colouring, I'm actually going to do a little bit of silver on it. And to get silver, I am using my embossing pens, and I am using the silver embossing powder to heat set. So I go off and set that little piece. I did have a small bit that I had missed with the embossing pen. So I come back and I just fill in the gap in a minute, as you will see. It is great having these embossing pens for these small parts that you want to shine up on your images that are a little bit difficult to get to if they're not their own little stamp. I'm also going to shine up and put in a silver ribbon on the top part of the present. So again, I'm using my pens to go around the area. And I also decide to put in some stripy silver aspects or elements to the title party for party time. So off I go again to emboss that. I'm just putting on some more silver powder, finishing it off with the heat gun just to make it all set and nice and shiny. So that's a really fun and quick way to do a little bit of colouring. Now I'm going to finish off my colouring using our tri-blend markers, and I have got 2 colours that I'm going to use. I am using the aqua blue blend and the true blue blend. Now I'm not doing a whole heap of shading on this. It doesn't warrant it, this present. I think just a nice solid look of colouring is almost going to be the most effective. There is a touch of shading here and there. I bring in the lighter shades of that aqua blue for the top ribbon, the medium part of the aqua blue for the lid itself. And then I'm also bringing in a little bit of the dark aqua blue on the insides of the ribbon up the top. Then I start to do all of my stripes. So I'm using the medium aqua blue for my alternating stripes here. Then I go onto the other side and start doing some stripes and realize that I hadn't quite lined it up correctly. So I switch over and use the darker part in between my light aspect stripes so that I get a dark and a medium stripe finish. So that was a little bit of an whoops, but you can always fix any little mistake that you are making. To finish it all off, once I have done the aqua blue, I bring in that true blue blend. And in the true blue, I'm using the darkest end, and I'm just putting a little extra line in just to give a hint of darker shades coming through on that present. So I bring in a little bit of that also on the top of the bow, just so that I've got it in both places. It's really fun colouring in some of these things, and with the tri-blend markers, you only really need 1 marker and you can get a whole heap of different shades. Now to construct, I'm pulling out that pull part, the big long strip, and I have taped it together at the back once I had scored it and folded. I use my rub and remove eraser to make sure there's no stickiness left on that strip, because that's going to be a movable part to this card. Then once I've threaded through the little tab at the base, I have also cut out the small white circle, and I put that on top with glue dots just to make it a little bit more sturdy on the front. We also have a little band that gets cut out from the set, and again I put that along the back just to make sure that we keep our pull tab piece straight up and down. It doesn't move around all over the place. Next, I am going to position the piece that is going up and down on the pull tab. So using my glue dots again, for this, I do use a couple just to make sure it's very secure, and then I just position it by eye, looking at how it's going to fit on the card itself. Finally, I'm going to put a little bit of foam tape around the outside edge of the front part of the present. Now, I do make sure that I put it right to the edge and I rub off any stickiness on the inside of that foam tape so that it's not going to get stuck when I am pulling it up and down. So that's how easy it is to construct the pull tab aspect of this card. Now we don't need the entire strip that was left over, and on the pull tab die cut you also get this cute little tab that you put at the top that sort of indicates that you're to pull up that piece. Now, I pre-cut also some little banners from a fun set, that alphabet set that we have had in our range for a while now. And I'm just going to pop those along the top just so that they give a bit of a party feel. And then from there, I also want a bit more silver, so I'm going to use my embossing pen once again to do a strip of silver as the thread that all the banner is hanging off. Now, off camera, I get that silver embossed. And then I do go and colour in the banner along the bottom of all the cocktail glasses. Unfortunately, that didn't get caught in the video. So you'll see what I have actually done is pulled in my stickles. And I've used all my sort of aqua and silver colours of stickles just to add a little touch of colour there. Now, when I construct the card, we're going to put together the different layers. So I always, with my slimline cards, make sure it's all lined up correctly and score it myself. Then I'm putting on this little background piece that's just going to give a bit of depth to the card. And this next piece I'm actually going to raise up just so that there's plenty of room for that pull tab motion to work. That's already been raised at that pace, so the rest of the frontage needs to be raised as well. So I'm using the thicker dimension just so that it stands out a bit further from my card base. So that's sitting on the front, and then I finish off by putting on my little sentiment on the front, which is actually going to say 50th. So it's party time for a 50th cocktail party, this one. Because I'm stamping on silver foil, I use the specialty ink Stays On. Hope you've enjoyed seeing this card come together. It's not as hard as it looks.